Okay, so what are we looking at now?
Okay, so this is one of my favorites.
Okay.
This is a Daytona Spider. And you probably remember there was a 70s TV show, the name is escaping me, what was his name? Sonny Crockett was the character's name.
Miami Vice.
Miami Vice, yes. So he drove a kit car that looked like this. And you can always tell the difference between a real one because of the way the windshield is slanted, and the kit cars come up at a higher angle. So that's about the only difference. But there were not a whole lot of these made. And what makes this car particularly special is that it was brought into the country when Sonny and Cher were married. For those old enough to remember
I know Sonny and Cher very well.
Okay, so by the time the car got here, Cher was dating Greg Allman. So Sonny said, well, you can have the car or Greg, and she says, thank you, I'll take Greg. So Sonny decided to sell the car. And Dick had an opportunity to buy it, and just a great story about economics and car values, because people wonder, can you make money when you buy a car, hold on for a number of years?
Jay Leno will tell you no. If you're making money, you're doing it wrong, but that's not true.
Well, so this car, if Dick had chosen to sell it, he bought it for $125,000. Now the sticker price at the time was about $30,000, so huge difference. And his friend said, what is the matter with you? Why would you do this? He said, oh, you just wait. And now it is priced somewhere over $2 million.
Yes.
So it's
especially because it's a factory convertible, and the factory did very few convertibles.
Yes. So now that's the good side of the story. The bad side of the story, from a driving standpoint, it's a front engine V12, and it is extremely heavy. And it has no power steering and no power brakes, which means that when you go around the corner, you have to ratchet the wheel. You can imagine having to back up and parallel park. No. So it does run. It's a great car. It's very fast. So because of the story and the beauty of it, the interior, it's a wonderful car, and we're thrilled to have it in the collection.
What's another favorite you have?
I would say the F-40.
Let's go take a look. So this is your other favorite.
I love this car. It's a twin-turbo V8, which you would think, isn't that great? But I'm here to tell you, this is a wicked fast car. I think the way it handles, the horsepower is the most incredible car. And I know there are faster cars now, but to me, this is the end-all be-all. So you can see when you look down how the clearance, the ground is very, very low. It does have a ride height control, as does the F-50. So when you're sitting in it and it's warming up, you feel it go zzz, 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 but it still only comes up a little bit. So people who have cars like this, when you drive them, particularly out of the driveway, you actually have to go out at an angle. Otherwise, you'll hear that terrible sound when you scrape underneath it. So I think this is one of the greatest cars ever built. A little secret about these cars, at night when you're driving it and you get full on the throttle and you lift, flames will actually shoot out the back. So, another funny story about this car. So this was, there were 349 made, I believe. This is number 350. So again, this car was made for the Sultan of Brunei. So it is a bit of a one-off car because it was built after the number that Ferrari deemed.
And interesting because it's a left-hand drive as opposed to the
the 456. Yeah. But do you know, this car and the F-50, so they're worth millions of dollars, right? There's no electric windows, there's no stereo system, and there's no air conditioning.
The air conditioning, I can imagine, would be really tough in a car like this. The stereo, you don't need it. You have a symphony right behind your ears.
That is because you are a car guy. I appreciate that. But people come in the museum who are not particularly car people, who don't understand that that is absolutely why you buy a car.
I know my wife would say, this has no AC and no radio. I don't like this car already. And it's like, are you out of your mind? This is an amazing piece of machinery.
Well, not to mention, its ride is so hard, so stiff, that you wouldn't want to go from here to San Francisco and the ride would get very old unless you're a true car aficionado.
I think I would probably go about halfway and go when I had a Ferrari Mondial, which was almost a daily driver by Ferrari standards, driving that on a long road trip, I would say every 90 minutes to 2 hours, I was dying to pull over and just get out and walk because my body was numb. So.
Exactly, which leads me to my next favorite car. So let's go see that one.
Perfect. So this is a separate part of the museum, the race shop. Tell me about it and tell me why we're standing next to this car.
Okay, well, so this is my other favorite car.
Okay.
And we talked about the F-40 and how fast it is, and it's a hard ride and all of that. But some days you just want to relax. You want to, put your pinkies in the air and just be calm. So the Bentley Azure is my favorite in terms of relaxing and style. The color of this car has always been one of my favorites. It's a convertible, a little noisy when it's a convertible, but it's a really heavy car and you feel very safe in it. It's elegant. So I would say this is one of my other favorites. And then on this side, this old green Bentley, this was the last Bentley that Dick bought. And his history was he was a vitamin manufacturer, world's largest. He made weight loss products, custom-made vitamins, and he would every year buy a new Bentley. Well, he stopped buying them with this one because this was the last year that Bentley actually made the engines. After that, they were purchased and they went to various manufacturers. So he was such a diehard. He said, I want to end with this. And it's still a great, elegant car. Again, like the Azure, very heavy, drives very nicely. So this is the historic part of Dick Marconi's last luxury car that he bought. Now as for the race shop, you can see up in the wall, we have Kenny Bernstein's Louis the Lizard. This broke a land speed record. It has a working engine and it still, as you can see, mounted on the wall. Looks like maybe it's going to come down, but I guarantee you if we had an earthquake, it would still be on the wall. It's bracketed and it's got big steel beams that run through it. So, but we had to keep it up on the wall because it took so much space. We had so many cars. And then, back through
I want to point out too, is before you show that, is the best part about VR is you can look down and see that the license plate, I'm assuming that is in...
Yes, that's me. Yes. Okay, so back here in our race shop, we had the full-blown team making all kinds of noise, testing engines, and our neighbors did not like us very much because open-wheel cars, they're really loud. And so once Dick decided that he didn't want to race anymore, he sold off the equipment and shut the race team down. And so now we use this area to store some of the cars, and then we do ice cream socials in here, use it as green room or prep for some of our caterers. So it's a very versatile area.
Very nice. So we're going to go drive a car now.
Okay, let's. Okay, off we go. We're going to go out this driveway like I was talking to you about, how you got to go out at an angle lest you hear that terrible sound. So let's hope I don't do that terrible sound. The thing is about driving these cars is you have to be careful. Be careful of other cars because they want to drive into you. So you got to be really watching who's doing what to whom. Go around the block. Hard to get out of second gear around here. How great is this car? What could be better than this? Nothing. Quick trip around. We're back home. Back to sanity. Back to behaving ourselves. Hope you enjoyed the ride. Okay, now we're gonna go on what I call the luxury version of a Ferrari. The last one was really something. Love that car, I just love it. This one I love too. I love the engine noise, which you will hear, and it's quick. It's also quick, but it's an automatic. I mean, who drives automatic Ferraris, I ask you? right-hand drives in America. Doesn't that sound great? The wind blowing in our hair. It's a beautiful day. We're driving big horsepower in Tustin, California. Getting ready to go around the corner for our around the block experience. I mean, it's powerful, right? But it's a little more sedate than the last go-round, which is nice when maybe you don't have quite as much energy that day. Very nice, very civilized. You won't find this car in America. Well, you'll find 456s, but you won't find a convertible. It's the only one. So fancy. Well, thanks for coming along on the rides. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the museum. Please come visit us anytime. Can't guarantee you'll go for car rides like this, but please come see the cars, because when you do, you're helping us help raise money for kids at risk.
We got to go for a ride in a couple really cool cars. Anything you want to add that people should know about the museum?
You know, I really want to talk a little bit about the foundation side of things. There is a misconception sometimes that all of these cars are owned by this rich guy. And I want to be clear in saying that when Dick got the 501c3 for the Marconi Foundation for Kids, he donated all the cars, the building, the land to the Marconi Foundation for Kids. So the family does not own any of the assets anymore. He is very philanthropic, and his whole goal in doing that was twofold. One, he wanted to inspire his peer group to give back. It's so easy, I think, in an area that we live in to be interested in how we can accumulate more things, but he wanted to put his best foot forward and say, you will feel so much more rich in your life when you give back. And then secondly, his life's mantra is learn, earn, and return. First you learn, you go to school, you get an education, and then that gives you the opportunity to earn in whatever capacity you choose, and then somewhere along the way you choose to give back. And he has been just a shining example of that, and as a result, the people that come to the museum who come in for tours, which are a $5 donation, or if they come in to rent the facility like you did when you had your wedding, you're helping us help kids. Our board of directors chooses every year which sorts of organizations we're going to give to, and they are always at-risk children related, which means anywhere from homelessness, kids that emancipate out of the foster care system end up on the streets, or whether it's contributing to pediatric cancer research, pediatric mental health, whatever that range of at-risk is, that's how we want to be involved. And so we really appreciate that when people host an event here, they're giving back, they're enjoying this beautiful collection of cars worth millions of dollars. And as you've seen, we don't have any barriers around them.
Nope.
So you can
Anybody can get real close. It's advised not to touch.
Real close. Yeah, we do ask not to touch. Of course, that doesn't work very well because people do, but everybody's been respectful of the cars, and we appreciate that.
So I want to touch on one other thing that I think is important if you're actually seriously considering having an event here, and I think it's an awesome place for obvious reasons, but if I'm not mistaken, the catering companies and stuff that you partner with are also charitable organizations, are involved in charitable.
Yes, we actually have a contract with White House Catering, and White House restaurant up in Anaheim, burned a couple years ago. Bruno Serrato, obviously very philanthropic himself. We have worked with his agency, Katerina's Club, and so yes, they have an equal goal to help us raise money for kids. At the same time, Katerina's Club is doing the same thing.
So basically, you're not just helping one organization, you're helping more than one, and helping a lot of different avenues that support children when you have an event here.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. thank you for your time. I appreciate it very much. And again, Tustin, California, marconimuseum.org is the website.
That's right.
And come on down. They're open most days, and $5 is cheap to look at this collection. I mean, and it's not like a car dealer where they like, get out, you're not buying. So.
Right, yeah. Or which one would you like to buy?
Thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.